It's true. It is officially UFC 285 fight day. I still have my doubts. I don't know why. I'm not going to believe it until Jon Jones is actually in that octagon. I feel like that something is going to go wrong. I feel like maybe he's going to twist his ankle or something on the walk there. I won't be believing when I see them in the octagon, but wow. It has been such a journey. I don't know. I always had doubts about this fight coming through. I just thought it was too good to be true, but we're actually here. Now, I gave you yesterday my prediction, Jon Jones, Cyril Gane. If you guys want to check that out, I broke down the fight in depth. I'm only going to touch on it a little bit at the end of the video. I'm going to be going through the main card, and I'm going to give you just a few of my prelim picks, and I'm going to be breaking down how I think the person will win, why, etc. And I'm going to try to do it as fast as possible. I don't want this to be too long. So let's get into this. Please comment in the comment section below. Let me know your predictions. What do you think is going to win the fight? Let me know what fight you're looking forward to. Comment below, and tomorrow we'll be back to talk about it. Alright, let's just get the prelims out of the way. First of all, I only want to talk about two prelims fights, and that's Derek Brunson versus DDP. Now, Derek Brunson, obviously coming off of kind of a loss against Jared Cannonier, was supposed to have his last fight against Jack Hermanson, but now has announced he's not retiring. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how much he really has left. I'm very impressed when the guy shows his ground and pound. I think that's definitely his best aspect, and something that's super underrated about him. Ground and pound is vicious, but we've seen his chin get a little, testy. I think he probably has the worst chin in the top 5 or so, and he's going up against a guy in DDP who's just coming off of that Darren Till win. It was kind of a close win. We see DDP gas out in fight, so it was interesting to see him get the 3rd round finish. He was gas, kind of had a 2nd win in that fight. But with that being said, I think I'm going to go DDP. Dricus du Plessis, I think he can defend those takedowns, and then once it's on the feet, I think Dricus du Plessis might get a 1st round finish. I think a 1st round knockout. I think if he moves forward like he usually does in those fights, I think we're going to see Derek Brunson get hurt early. I think it's going to end in the 1st or 2nd round, probably 1st, so if I were to take a bet. Maybe it's a submission, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a knockout, I think. Maybe TKO or something like that. That is my prediction, and from there, I can't wait to see where DDP goes, but we're going to break that down tomorrow if he does get past Derek Brunson. Next fight I want to talk about on the prelims, Cody Garbrandt is coming back. Now, this Cody Garbrandt I'm a little excited for. He's moved to Vegas, started training there. He's not training with Team Alpha Male, best of my knowledge, so it's a new training camp, but honestly, he's been pretty bad in his last few fights. Obviously, he's been making the same mistakes. I think it's about time that he finds a new coach, because the guy just goes in there and throws and doesn't protect himself. That's been his problem in the last few fights. That's why TJ Dillashaw beat him. I think if he would have been a lot more cool, calm, and collected with TJ Dillashaw, he probably would have beat TJ, in my opinion. He definitely had that potential, especially back then. He's fighting a guy in Trevin Jones that hasn't had too many UFC fights, if we're going to be honest, but right now Cody Garbrandt is the favorite. I'm a little surprised by that. I think Trevin Jones is a guy that you can't overlook. I watched a few of his fights in preparation, so I'm going to go Trevin Jones. I think that Cody Garbrandt, yes, he's had a long period of time off, so hopefully he's learning that period. I know that he had like 3 training camps, but if I'm going to be honest, I just think the chin is gone. And plus, when you consider the injuries of Cody Garbrandt, they just had so many injuries last year. I'm going to make it quick, but Trevin Jones is going to be my pick. Now we get to the interesting part of the main card, Bo Nickal versus Jamie Pickett. Now, Bo Nickal, we all know Bo Nickal. A lot of you guys asked me my questions about him, and I think he has a potential to be a superstar depending on how this fight goes specifically. Obviously, we've seen that his wrestling is top notch. Like, the dude is legit in the wrestling department. Pro debut was a knockout, but that guy was making his MMA pro debut and was 36 years old. People look in the knockout and think, oh my god, so cool, but the competition he's faced really hasn't been up to par, and that's always been my criticism. I think a lot of people are overlooking this guy. Like, hey man, like, let's see how he does against Jamie Pickett, because Jamie Pickett is not an easy fight. Trust me, it's not an easy fight. And the fact that Bo Nickal is a minus 1800 favorite is crazy to me. That is just wrong. Not a minus 1800 favorite. I'm gonna do things a little different. I'm gonna say who I think is going to win, just so everything else makes sense. I think Bo Nickal will win, just because I think that Jamie Pickett's takedown defense isn't really there. I think he'll be able to get the takedown pretty easily, and I think from there maybe get some ground and pound, maybe get a submission. I mean, we've seen also his jiu-jitsu look really phenomenal. And I don't mean to shit on the guy. The guy has looked really good. I mean, he has a knockout, pretty impressive still. In his last performance, he knocked the guy down and then got him in a triangle in like the 1st minute. His jiu-jitsu is improving. The guy is a genuine threat on the ground, so I'm going to pick Bo Nickal, like I said, but I don't think minus 1800 is accurate. Okay, maybe if you want to put minus 600, I think those odds are absolutely crazy. Jamie Pickett, put some respect on this dude's name, and too, I like that his reaction is to be calm, cool, collective. The guy didn't really show any nerves this whole week. You see him in the press conference. I also just don't think Jamie Pickett has that one-punch knockout power. I think he's going to need to really outclass Bo Nickal, and I don't think he could do that, especially with his takedown defense. That's why I'm going Bo Nickal. But next fight, Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner was supposed to be fighting Dan Hooker. Big opportunity for him. Fell out. Now he's facing a much harder guy in Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot coming off of that loss against Beneil Dariush, where he just got outclassed. Clearly out-veteraned by Beneil Dariush. Clearly had the experience advantage, and in my opinion, that's what's won him the fight. fight. I think Mateusz Gamrot still has a lot to go on, and I think he could definitely face the upper top of the division. I just think it was a little too soon for him, and I think Beneil Dariush is just such a really good guy, very underrated. I think he could definitely be a champion and defeat Islam, in my opinion. He's been able to be a proven submission threat. I mean, when he submitted Brad Riddell or something in like under a minute with a guillotine, it was completely insane. So one of the things with Mateusz Gamrot is we're gonna have to see what the grappling and also Jalen Turner could strike. So honestly, I think this fight is pretty close. I think a lot of people are just picking Mateusz Gamrot just because we've seen him really good before, and just because he is a high level guy, and a lot of people know he's a high level guy. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, he'll obviously win. But I am going to stick with Mateusz Gamrot. I just want to say that it's not because of that. I just think Mateusz Gamrot is genuinely one of those guys I think could be a champion one day, and I think a lot of people are kind of underrating him just because of that Beneil Dariush performance. But he is definitely really good. I mean, he beat Arman Sarukian. Arman Sarukian is another guy that I think could possibly be champ. He gave Islam problems. I think he wins by decision. I think it'll be a close one. I think Jalen Turner will win the first round, and I think the last 2 rounds will go to Mateusz Gamrot, in my opinion. Now we get to this featured bout, or whatever you want to call it, Shavkat Rakhmonov. This guy's 17-0. He has such a good reputation. A lot of people are hyping him up. A lot of people comparing him to Khamzat. In my opinion, I mean, he has double the fights of Khamzat almost. I think the guy's striking is better than Khamzat just because he has more weapons. We've seen him with the wheel kicks. We've seen him basically finish every guy in the UFC, I believe. And he is a guy that isn't as marketable as Khamzat just because Khamzat is always cutting those promos where he's going crazy. But Shavkat is as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than Khamzat. And that's something we're going to see, I think, eventually in the future. I think it's inevitable that we're going to see them fight as long as they keep winning. But he's facing Geoff Neal, and Geoff Neal is a guy that I like. You saw in his Vicente Luque performance, sometimes I find the guy is on or sometimes he's off. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I don't know if it's like a motivational problem, which we're going to get into because of the weigh-in results. I don't know if it's a motivation thing. I don't know if it's just sometimes he's just not feeling it. I don't know if this is just a recent thing where he's been feeling it. But his Vicente Luque performance blew me away because I thought Vicente Luque was going to beat him, but he just dominated him and he knocked out Vicente Luque cold. And Vicente Luque has an iron chin. The guy takes shots. His boxing too just looks so good. And I don't think there's going to be a surprise to a lot of people. There's a lot of big favorites on the card, so that's kind of why I don't really like predicting this card. But I am going to go Shavkat Rakhmonov just because I think this is on the feet. I think it's 50-50. I think honestly Shavkat Rakhmonov could possibly beat him, but with the grappling involved, we've seen Geoff Neal taken down by guys that I wouldn't even consider really high-level grapplers. So I think Shavkat's going to get the finish. Plus, I'm more concerned about this weight issue, which a lot of you guys, if you don't know, Geoff Neal weighed in 4 pounds over. 4 pounds. Like, that is just crazy. Like, I would understand 1, okay, then you mess up 4 pounds. And I think this has something to do with the fact that he pulled out in January. I think he has some sort of injury going on that prevented him from losing the weight or something like that. It's unfortunate. I would assume that because I don't think he's ever really missed weight in his career, and he doesn't look like a big welterweight to me. I just think it's something to do with this injury. Maybe he just couldn't train as much as he could have. And to me, that scares me for a Shavkat fight. Like, you need to be training. And I was thinking Geoff Neal should be less of an underdog. The odds should be a little closer. But after this, nah, I totally agree. I think Shavkat's going to win. I just think that Geoff Neal's coming in with some sort of injury or something that's making him behind on his training. That's just what I think. I think a healthy Geoff Neal maybe puts up a little more of a fight, but I would still be picking Shavkat at the end of the day. But we're gonna see. Now the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso. This fight I'm a little excited for. I think it was probably the worst fight you could have made at 125. I think I would have rather the Talia Santos rematch. Even Manon Fiorot, she looked really good in her last bout. I wouldn't have minded her stepping in or something like that. But Alexa Grasso, it's fine, whatever. She's coming off of her win against Viviana Araújo. And Alexa Grasso, we've seen her kind of evolve. She started off as kind of more of a striking girl, and in her last few fights, she's been incorporating the grappling. She got a submission over Joanne Calderwood, I think, recently. We've seen her shoot for takedowns. And I think if Alexa Grasso wants to win this fight, I think she should mix it up. I think that's her game plan. I don't think if she goes in with a wrestling approach, she's going to beat Valentina Shevchenko, because let's face it, her bread and butter is not the wrestling. She's good on the striking. I think if she mixes up, steals a couple rounds with those takedowns, I think that's her best chance of victory. I think she's got to move forward and not play the games of Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina is a phenomenal striker, phenomenal kickboxer, and I think if you're able to mix it up, make her fear the takedown, make her think about what's coming at her, that's how you beat a girl like Valentina Shevchenko. A girl so technical and so good, that's how you have to beat them, is to make them think about what you're doing instead of what they're going to do, which is obviously easier said than done, let's be honest. And the question is, does Alexa Grasso have those tools to do that? I don't think so. I don't think Alexa Grasso has those tools. I'm going with Valentina Shevchenko. I also just think Alexa Grasso gets hit a little too often. I think we might be seeing a really good performance out of Valentina Shevchenko. I could see a scenario where she just brutalizes her, kind of like the Lauren Murphy fight. And I could see a scenario where actually Valentina goes for takedown. I think Alexa's best chance is if she hits Valentina with a big shot, which we've seen her get knockouts before, but I think it's going to be more of a technical battle if Alexa Grasso beats her. But in my opinion, it's very, very slim. I'm pretty confident in this Valentina Shevchenko pick. I'm going with Valentina Shevchenko. I'm also really worried about the spinning attacks from Valentina Shevchenko. We've seen Alexa Grasso get hit by those before. I think it could be like one of those decisions like are super dominant that you're like, man, that could have been stopped, or it's going to get stopped late. Like it's going to get stopped in the 4th or 5th. We're going to have to see. I don't think Valentina Shevchenko could submit Alexa Grasso, maybe just from surprise. Maybe she could, but I think it's going to just be on the feet. I think maybe Valentina will get some top control. I don't think she'll be able to like get submissions with the ground game, but I got Valentina in this one. All right, now we're going to the main event, Jon Jones, Ciryl Gane. We talked about this yesterday. I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Who do I think is going to win? Ciryl Gane is such a technical guy, and like I said, we've seen Jon Jones now with the weigh-ins. They're weighing about the same, which is pretty interesting. But one thing you got to give Gane the advantage of, even though they're technically the same size, he's just naturally going to have a heavyweight advantage just because he's been a heavyweight the whole time. He's used to it. He's used to handling other heavyweights, and Jon Jones is not going to have that advantage. He's really a light heavyweight, moving up to heavyweight, so obviously he's going to be the smaller guy and the less strong guy. In my opinion, I think Ciryl Gane will definitely be the stronger guy. Jon Jones is talking about how much he lifts, this and that, which I believe. I'm sure he is strong, and maybe he's stronger than a lot of us are thinking, but I think Ciryl Gane is stronger, and I think if it becomes one of those things where Jon Jones is shooting for takedowns, trying to get it on the fence, I think Ciryl Gane will win at that game. I think Ciryl Gane will definitely be able to outstrength Jon Jones in those scenarios, and the only thing that's worrying me about Jon Jones is he did say something like how Ciryl fatigues his movement across 5 rounds. That's just not true. You see the Jairzinho Rozenstruik fight, he didn't fatigue. I think Jon Jones is going to have to go for leg kicks, and I think if he slows down the movement or affects the movement of Ciryl Gane, it's over for Ciryl Gane. I think Jon Jones will start using his trips that we've seen him use as of late, and I'm going to predict Jon Jones because of that. I think he'll be able to stop the movement somehow. I think it'll be through kicks or leg kicks or oblique kicks. We've seen him use leg kicks before. I think that's going to be his best weapon. I think he's going to mess up one of those legs. I think he should use oblique kicks, and then once the movement of Ciryl Gane is gone, I think it's going to be a lot easier to get takedowns, to get shots across. We've seen Ciryl Gane in boxing range kind of struggle, especially with Tai Tuivasa when he got dropped. I am going to go with Jon Jones. I'm feeling a little more confident than I did in my last video when I filmed it, just because then since I watched the press conference, I think Jon Jones admitting that Ciryl Gane's best attribute is the movement, I think that just proves to me he knows how to get rid of that. But let me know your predictions. Comment in the comment section below. This is going to be a crazy card tomorrow. I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. We're going to be talking. Maybe we'll do a stream. Who knows? Maybe comment in the comment section below if you would want me to do a stream, if you check it out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.